I had a infection in my blood from the water out here that coagulated my blood many years ago. And from that point, that kind of, when your blood gets so thick and your heart can't pump it, it tore the muscles down in it. And from that point, being diabetic and on high blood pressure medications and, a lot of the things that most Americans have, my heart never really got better. It actually started getting worse and over a period of time and worse and worse. March of 2022, just last year, was my lowest point. I went into the cardiologist, had scheduled a 2-day nuclear stress test. And prior to that, I was wearing a Zoll life vest because tests before showed that I was below 30. So they put me in this life vest that had paddles in it, that you had to wear. But I kept getting worse. So in March of last year, went in and did another nuclear stress test, and that one came back extremely terrible. I was at 14% ejection rate. So basically, I was kind of hanging on by a thread. The cardiologist, he said it was, the muscle and it was weak and there's not much they can do. So he wanted to schedule me to put in a defibrillator. And that kind of pre-op testing and all that got not passed, and that had to get pushed off. That same time, at the end of March, is when my sponsor, Deborah, called me. And she asked me to take a look at it. And I looked at it and I thought, this actually makes sense. The sunshine hits your skin, vitamin D, this is the same concept. It's reflecting a signal back onto my skin off my own light. It just made sense to me. So I says, I'm really messed up. I need everything you got. And so we talked and she brought me some patches, and it was actually the same day that Dr. Stacy was down in Sarasota at a meeting, and I ended up down there to, meet, get the patches and learn more. When I got on the patches from that point, first day or two, I think, I felt more energy, slept better a little bit. I thought, I was skeptical like everybody, but I was really hoping it worked. And I've done this, nutritional stuff before with other companies, but nothing like this. So around day 4, my blood sugar crashed, and I thought, oh, get these off of me. I was on my last patch. What happened? And I talked to my sponsor. I talked to my doctor. And one of the things that we discussed was, she says, what if your body is creating the chemicals inside it to take care of your own blood sugar and the pills are overdosing you? Well, that's a pretty neat concept. Let me talk to the doctor. Well, what we did, I just started cutting my pills, broke a quarter of it off, took it, and got some more patches from her, of course. Tried it again, blood sugar dropped, but it didn't go as far. And I thought, we're on to something here. So it took me about a month and a half, long story short. By the end of probably the end of April, beginning of May, I was off of all my diabetic meds. I had broke them in half, then broke them in quarters until I got completely off of them. Then the exact same thing happened with my blood pressure medicine. Blood pressure started dropping, started weaning off of that. Now I'm off all my cardiology, or no, not my cardiology, my cholesterol. I'm off of that stuff. In August of last year, I went back for another 2-day stress test. I went from March, the test in March, I went from 14% to 35% ejection rate in August of last year. In December, an ultrasound, the EKGs they did came back good. Ultrasound showed around the 40, 42-ish, somewhere in that neighborhood. And I got another stress test scheduled for March of this year. And I know I'm going to be 45 or higher, which puts me back in pretty much the normal category. So that was amazing to me. And I know people want to know, well, what patches did you use? I started out with the X39, put it on the back of my neck. And then I used the Aeon and the Carnosine and the Glutathione. Those are the patches that I started with. Because like I said, I told her my problems. I says, I'm backs against the wall, bring me everything you got. And she was gracious enough to, give me a couple of each of the patches. And that's what I started with. And then after I got in, started researching things, and I learned about the X49 and watched David's video on that. I thought, this one's for the heart. So in August, I added the X4, or no, is it probably June, July? I added the X49, and I put that right there over my heart. So, and then, you know, I backed off the glutathione. I do every other day, something like that. But the others I wear every single day.
I want to hear what your ejection fraction is.
I will.
Because to be at 12, 14%, and now you're over 40.
Within a year, that's pretty amazing. The other thing is I do a lot of welding. So I get burn marks all over my arms, and they're practically, my wife loves it because she used to complain all the time. I still got some white spots here, but they're fading away. You know, they're healing up, and I was welding today.